Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine His heart is never cold, so peaceful and poetic, with a message true and bold. He's never seeking praise, so silent and so brave. The transcendental world is in the magic of his ways. When I see his love, I know got a long, long way to go. When I taste the love that he's feeling inside. He's always meek and mild, with a warm and friendly smile, so simple in his living, his singing all the while. He gives us Krishna's name, his glory and his fame, to serve his Lord and Master in pleasure or in pain. When I see his love, I know got a long, long way to go. When I taste the love that he's feeling that's found in the sound of Krishna's name. He's free of lust and greed, with the heart so pure and clean. He's the lover of the Lord, and his life is ecstasy. When I see his love, I know got a long, long way to go. When I take the love that he's feeling inside.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. A very warm welcome to all of you in Srila Prabhupada Lila. Today we will understand two very important pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. So we have been seeing how Srila Prabhupada in San Francisco, he was very expert in training some of the very odd and almost wild people. We also saw how Prabhupada confessed this is darkest of the dark regions. Then why Srila Prabhupada was there in those areas? By the order of Lord Chaitanya, who has incarnated with a special purpose of delivering the most fallen people. So we should not think in spiritual life that I am not qualified. All these qualifications which are listed in Bhagavad Gita, which are so extraordinary, we may not have even a fraction of those qualities, but it does not matter. Rather, that becomes qualification. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to deliver the most fallen person. That is why we sing in the morning in Darshanarti in our temple, Mosam Patita Prabhu na pai beara. So I deserve your mercy because nobody is more fallen than me, and you have come here to deliver the most fallen person. And actually that is the secret of receiving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. When a person factually starts believing that I am most fallen person, nobody is more fallen than me, then such a person is able to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So that is why the entire purpose of spiritual life is to develop this humility, and we will see in course of today's narration how this was one of the most important element which Srila Prabhupada requested. Materialist wants to become more and more egotistic. I am the best. I am better than so many people. I am rare in the world. And devotee feels the other way around. I am the most fallen. I have no qualification. And when a devotee factually starts believing like that, then he becomes eligible to receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Srila Prabhupada thus taking Lord Chaitanya's mercy to most fallen people, having strong faith in the holy name. The disqualifications of the fallen people of the West stand nowhere in front of unlimitedly qualified vibration of Lord Krishna's holy name. And then, apart from the vibration of holy name, another incarnation very mercifully manifested in San Francisco. What is that? Let us try to explore. One day, Malti hurried into Swamiji's apartment, took a small item out of her shopping bag and placed it on Swamiji's desk for his inspection. What is this, Swamiji? Bhaktivedanta Swami looked down and beheld a 3-inch wooden doll with a flat head, a black, smiling face, and big, round eyes. The figure had stubby, forward-jutting arms and a simple green and yellow torso with no visible feet. So it was very unique form, that no feet were there and just torso is visible and you cannot see fingers, just the arms are studding out. Immediately Swamiji folded his palms and bowed his head, offering the little figure respects. You have brought Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe, he said, smiling and bright-eyed. He is Krishna, thank you very much. Swamiji beamed with pleasure while Malti and others sat amazed at their good fortune of seeing Swamiji so pleased. Swamiji explained that this was Lord Jagannath, a deity of Krishna worshipped all over India for thousands of years. Jagannath, he said, is worshipped along with 2 other deities, his brother Balram and his sister Subhadra. Excitedly, Malti confirmed that there were other similar figures at Cost Plus, it is the name of the store from where she got Jagannath deity. Swamiji said she should go back and buy them. Malti told her husband Shyam Sundar and together they hurried back and bought the 2 other dolls in the set. So then immediately the husband of Malti Mataji, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, he was ordered because Swamiji asked that who is the person who can carve here. So he told, yes, I have the skill of carving wood. So he told, you please make nice deities, 3 feet tall deities, duplicating these small statues that you have got from the store. Then Srila Prabhupada went on to explain what is this unique form of Krishna, Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. Prabhupada explained more than 2000 years ago. There is description because 2000 years ago, Lord Jesus Christ, he also came to Jagannath Puri. It's mentioned in Aquarian Gospel because he also was a pure devotee of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada explains when he saw that people were not at all willing to understand his message, barbarians, they crucified Lord Jesus only. So he preached as far as he could, but then he realized there is not much point to do anything now. So then he did this pastime of disappearing from there, and then he woke up again. That is called Resurrection Day, and he was seen walking again. So of course, he being a transcendental personality, nobody can kill him like that. But then he eventually came to India because he is also a pure devotee, and then he stayed at Jagannath Puri. So at least 2000 years old is the history of the temple. So before that, one Maharaj Indradyumna was there, and he wanted to worship Krishna in the same form in which Krishna, his brother Baldev and sister Subhadra, they had come in the Kurukshetra. So there was a very great assembly during the eclipse. So in the eclipse, it is mentioned that he should go to holy place and do various purificatory rituals. So all the Vrijvasis also had come there, including father, mother of Krishna, the Gopas, Gopis and Srimati Radharani. And Krishna with his brother Balramji and Subhadra, sister of Krishna Balram, they were also there. So when we take you to Jagannath Puri, maybe we will describe in detail this very wonderful pastime. How Krishna in ecstasy assumed this wonderful form, and Narad Muni requested, please come here. So Maharaj Indradyumna requested Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is the engineer and sculptor of heavens. So he agreed to do this service of Lord Krishna, and he told, I will carve the forms, but I have a condition. While I am carving out the forms, you should not enter my workplace. If you enter, I will leave it immediately. So Maharaj Indradyumna was waiting and the work was going on. And then he could not hear any noises of any work, and he became little eager and he opened the door. And Vishwakarma, as per his promise, he vanished. And at first it was thought that the deities are unfinished. because the limbs were not visible completely, hands were not carved, feet were not there. But then later it was revealed that this is perfect form of Krishna. Deities are not unfinished. Rather, this was the form assumed by Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra in ecstasy. And Maharaj Indradumna just started worshipping this form of Lord Krishna. Since then, we know recently we had Rath Yatra festival. It's a huge festival of our country. And as we understood in the childhood pastime, this was Prabhupada's desire. When will I go to Jagannath Puri? He was always thinking. And he was having a Rath Yatra also when he was quite young. So similarly, here in Jagannath Puri, Prabhupada wanted to manifest similar pastimes, which he has been doing since his childhood. And Lord Jagannath on its own, without any pre-arrangement or thoughts, he manifested himself. So Srila Prabhupada told, they should be careful to receive and worship Lord Jagannath properly. If Shyam Sundar could carve the forms, Swamiji said he would personally install them in the temple and the devotees could then begin worshipping the deities. San Francisco, he said, could be renamed New Jagannath Puri. He chanted, Jagannath Swami Nayanapathagami Bhavatume. This is a mantra for Lord Jagannath, he said. Jagannath means Lord of the universe. O Lord of the universe, kindly be visible unto me. It is very auspicious that he has chosen to appear here. So just like the Britishers, they moved to America, the Europeans. And the cities which are there, Yorkshire is there, so they made New York. And like this, prefixing the name New, they re-established the cities we were existing in Europe before. So thus, Srila Prabhupada told, we have all these cities in India, the Dhamas. Now in America, following the same tradition, we have Jagannath Puri over there. Now this is New Jagannath Puri, just like New York, New Jersey, like that. So Srila Prabhupada re-christened San Francisco as New Jagannath Puri. So Srila Prabhupada explained that worship of Radha Krishna in the temple required very high, very strict standards. So even now when we are worshipping Radha Krishna deities in our temples, it is not possible for ordinary conditioned soul to worship Radha Krishna. So when we worship, actually, it is Lord Lakshmi, Lord Narayan and Mother Lakshmi accepting our worship. So Radha Krishna expand themselves in so many forms, including Lakshmi Narayan. So the Radha Krishna deities, when they are worshipped with very great regulations under the guidance of spiritual master, with awe and veneration, then Radha Krishna accept the worship in Lakshmi Narayan form. Why so? Because in order to worship Radha Krishna, a person has to surpass these formal rules and regulations, awe and veneration. When by worshipping the deities very regularly with great discipline, purification and extraordinary spiritual advancement, person develops spontaneous attraction for Krishna. Then it is no longer required to know the opulence of Krishna. Now we worship Krishna because he is God. But when the devotee doesn't care Krishna is God or not, I simply want to worship Krishna. That is my life and soul. That is called spontaneous attraction, like a young man is spontaneously attracted to young woman and vice versa. So only those devotees who have such spontaneous attraction can worship Radha Krishna. Otherwise, Radha Krishna mercifully accept the worship in Lakshmi Narayan form. And to worship these forms, so many rules and regulations a person has to follow. But Lord Jagannath is very, very merciful. And the servants of Jagannath in India, in Orissa, many of them are even meat eaters. But nevertheless, Lord Jagannath is very, very merciful. And Sripad Ramanujacharya, the prominent Acharya of Sri Sampradaya, when he went to Jagannath Puri, and Sri Sampradaya is very famous for having many rules and regulations in the deity worship. So in Jagannath Puri, don't have any rules and regulations. Whenever they wish, they would feed, they would put him to rest, or they would wake him up. No fixed timings. Otherwise, in our temples and in regular temples, deity worship standards are very high. Punctuality is very important. So Srila Prabhupada explained, Lord Jagannath is very, very merciful, and Jagannath wants to accept service the way their devotees are doing, without any formalities. So Ramanujacharya, when he wanted to impose rules and regulations, overnight he was transported. He slept there and he woke up in another place. He was sent far away. Jagannath told, don't disturb. Let me be served the way I am being done here. So Prabhupada told, it does not matter. We may not be qualified to worship Radha Krishna, but Jagannath is very merciful. And with whatever little offerings we can do, kirtan we can do, he would be satisfied. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada did installation ceremony. Installation is also very rigorous procedure. So Prabhupada, for Lord Jagannath, he told the devotees, just do this thing, bring a candle. And what you have to do is, you have to show the candle like we show aartis, but it was a new thing for them. So they told you have to show the candle like this in front of the deities. And meanwhile, the devotees would be doing kirtan. And in this way, all the devotees should come one by one and they should offer this candle to Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. And meanwhile, kirtan should go on. If one devotee gets tired doing kirtan, other devotee should replace, but kirtan should not stop. So this is the way for any ritual in Kali Yuga. We do not have qualified brahmanas. Simply by doing some motion of the hands or some mantra chanting, igniting some fire in the Havan Kunda, you don't actually perform the ritual. For this, first of all, it is important to have the ability of chanting mantras in trance, Prabhupada explains. Then the mantra is effective. So in order to reach the stage of trance, such brahmanas are not available anymore. So thus all the rituals, yes, we can do as a matter of duty, but chanting of Hare Krishna is the main ritual which attracts the attention of Krishna, and Krishna incarnates in the form of deities to give the benedictions to all the aspiring devotees. So thus Srila Prabhupada constituted this very simple deity installation procedure. So then the devotees were coming, they were offering worship, and kirtan was going on. In this way, very wonderfully, the deity installation happened. So this deity form, usually we also do not have proper understanding. So just like there is Nam Avatar, in a similar fashion, the deity incarnation is called Archa Avatar. It is told in the Purana, Arche Vishnu Shiladhir Gurushu Narmati Vaishnave Jati Buddhir. Archa means the form of Krishna, which we called sometimes statue, or some people who are ignorant, they call it idol. The forms that we see in the temple, which may be carved out of stone or wood or anything else. This is actually incarnation of Krishna. Krishna being on the absolute platform, there is no difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's form. So whenever we see form of Krishna, actually Krishna is personally present there. The form could be made out of stone, could be made out of sand, could be made out of, it could be simply a painting, or the form which a person can see within his heart. So these are various forms which are bona fide and they are non-different from Krishna. And the more we have faith, the more we are able to relate with such forms. And when a person advances, then he is able to feel the presence of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains, how do we understand that here is a stone, I have carved it out of a stone, a marble, but then you are telling that that is God? So Prabhupada explains, yes, just like a yogi also can take various forms. People who actually know the practice of Ashtanga Yoga, they have a siddhi in which they can take any form that they may think of, any conceivable form they can take. So when a yogi also can become a lion, tiger, bird, or a stone, then why Krishna cannot take the form of a stone? So we perceive that it is form which is carved out of stone, that is fact, but actually when devotees want to serve, Krishna takes that form and he stands there. And of course, when Krishna comes here, Krishna comes with all the unlimited expansions that he is having. All the universes are also present in that form of Krishna. And all the devotees are also present along with the this incarnation of Krishna. Krishna is never alone. Thus, Mother Yashoda, when she was shown the form, when Balram accused Krishna has eaten mud, and Krishna opened the mouth, and all the universes were present in Krishna's apparently small-looking body. So these are the spiritual dynamics. Although the body appears finite, but infinite universes and all such other expansions of Krishna, Varaha, Narsimha, Kurma, they are present there. And also is present a form which was carved out of stone. That is also present, and all other unlimited forms are also present. Because a person may wonder, that Aurangzeb broke so many deities and so many other crazy people also. So did he break Krishna? No. So many forms of Krishna were present, just like Krishna when he was shot an arrow. And then apparently Krishna became dead, as people, historians say, 5,000 years ago. No, Krishna is never dead. But so many forms of Krishna are present. Along with that, a form is also present which appears like that of a human being. So that form Krishna leaves behind. See, somebody shot an arrow to my foot and then I am dead now. These are pastimes of Krishna to bewilder atheists. So all the forms of Krishna are present. Depending upon the person's ability, he would only be perceive matter if he's an atheist, or they directly perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They talk to him and the deities, so many pastimes we have, the deities have run out of altar, they talk with the devotees, they play with the devotees, and actually Krishna comes in deity form just to reciprocate, just to talk with us. Krishna is very, very eager, but we have to purify ourselves so that we can involve in such loving exchanges with Krishna. So this is the special significance. So we are very fortunate. Any form that you may have, you can have a picture of Krishna. So please start offering something. Then Prabhupada educated them. Now how you have to engage in service of this form. So then he requested all the devotees, all of you, please come and show candle over here. And then the candle was passed to various people. And then he told you, take the flame on your head. This is prasadam of Krishna. This candle has been offered to Krishna. So it has become spiritualized. Now you take that heat, that is taking prasadam of Krishna. And then you contribute something on the plate on which candle is fixed. In India, we know it. It's very common custom. So some seva is there. We cannot do seva directly in the temple. So the pujari who is doing, temple is being maintained. We do some seva by contributing some Lakshmi. So this is how deity worship should be done. When we receive arti from the arti plate, some money can be put immediately. And then after this, Prabhupada told, now when you come here to the temple, please bring something. Just like when you meet your relative, you bring something to eat, some dresses, XYZ. So whenever you are coming, please bring some fruits at least. Fruit and flower, Prabhupada told. Does not matter. If you cannot bring very expensive fruit, you can bring a cheap fruit and a flower, an ordinary thing, but please at least one fruit and one flower. This you please bring when you come to temple. So this is also another very important element of deity worship. When we visit temple, we should carry something with us. So this entire process of bhakti yoga is revival of our lost relationship with Krishna. In this way, we learn how to re-establish the relationship. So whenever we visit temple, we offer some Lakshmi, donations to the deities, especially while Aarti is going on, we offer something in the plate when the plate comes around, and then we offer fruits and flowers to the deity. And then if somebody can afford, then he or she can construct a temple for Krishna. If you have resources, you can sponsor dresses for Krishna, feast for the devotees, or XYZ like that, as much as is our capacity. But minimum thing is patram pushpam phalam toyam. Offer me fruit, offer me leaf, offer me water, and this we can all start immediately in our houses or hostels or wherever we are staying. And great spiritual advancement. Prabhupada tells you will feel that. Just offer incense or lamp to Krishna every day and you will feel tremendous spiritual advancement. It is very simple. So devotees asked Prabhupada, can we offer few more things? Prabhupada explained, yes, you can offer incense also. And is that all? No, Prabhupada told, there are so many rules and regulations of deity worship, and if I tell you all now, you will faint. So it's not easy. In order to set foot inside the altar, a person has to be very qualified. Second initiation, Brahman Diksha has to happen. It takes anyway minimum, if a person has joined temple full time, it takes us 1.5 to 2 years minimum. It can take up to 5, 6, 10 years if a person is outside. And then a person is eligible to worship the deities. And so many rules and regulations have to be followed. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada very nicely introduced the deity worship and told the basic things how we can start satisfying the deities. As Swamiji had requested, the devotees and guests began bringing offerings before the altar of Lord Jagannath. Hippies would come by and leave whatever they could: a stalk of wheat, half a loaf of bread, a box of saltines, a piece of fudge, or candles, flowers, or fruit. Half a loaf of bread. So, whatever hippies could bring. So, thus we can see how this Bhakti Yoga is so sublime and so simple and yet so sublime. A person having no qualification, half mad of mind, can also make tremendous advancement. So hippies were bringing whatever they could. Hearing that before using something for yourself, you should first offer it to God, some hippies began bringing their new clothes and offering them with a prayer to Lord Jagannath before wearing them. These hippies didn't follow Lord Jagannath's instructions, but they wanted his blessings. So the dresses also they were offering, and this is a fact. Actually, everything should be offered before we use, because we are servants of God, and anything that this is the understanding of our Varnashrama system, that we are servants of God and our life is centered just to that end, to satisfy Lord Jagannath, Lord Krishna. So the dress we are wearing not for our satisfaction, so that we can do service of Krishna by wearing this dress. So this dress is also instrument in service of Krishna. So devotee offers it to Krishna and then accepts the dress also as prasadam of Krishna. We get a new vehicle. The vehicle also should be offered to Krishna. So that, and the devotees do that. First of all, they invite Krishna, make him sit in the vehicle, and then Krishna is the owner of the vehicle. And I will use this vehicle in your service. In this way, whatever the belongings are, the house is there. So first of all, Krishna is invited. The devotees go with the frame pictures or the deities if they are there. And then they do very nice kirtan. So in this way, they show Krishna, this is your house. So when at all, if you have a house or you make in future, the main room, the biggest room should belong to Krishna. A big altar should be there. Now we put somewhere in some cavity in the corner of the room, where a person, even thief, has to look, where is this Lord in the house? So concealed in some corner. That is not the right way. The proper place is in the living room, or in a very big room. The biggest hall of the house should belong to Krishna. And then we occupy other rooms as servants of Krishna. So every morning we should assemble, offer worship to Krishna. In the evening we should do that. In this way, the Krishna is made the owner of the house, and we all live as their servants. So in this way, just like we have various family members, the deities are considered the most important family member and the masters. So everything should be offered to them and then used for our purpose, for satisfaction of Krishna. Now the devotees were a family. If they followed his instructions, they would remain strong. If they were sincere, Krishna would help them. Lord Jagannath was present, and the devotees would have to worship him faithfully. They would be purified by chanting Hare Krishna and following their spiritual master's instructions. Swamiji got into the car accompanied by some of his disciples, and the devotees drove him to the airport. Several carloads of devotees followed behind. At the airport, the devotees were crying, but Swamiji assured them he would return if they would hold a Rath Yatra festival. You must arrange a procession down the main street, he told them. Do it nicely, we must attract many people. There's such a procession yearly in Jagannath Puri. At this time, the deity may leave the temple. Only 2.5 months ago, he had arrived here in this very terminal, greeted by a throng of chanting young people. Many were now his disciples, although just barely assuming their spiritual identities and vows. Yet he felt no compunctions about leaving them. He knew some of them might fall away, but he couldn't stay with them always because his time was limited. Bhaktivedanta Swami, the father of 2 small bands of neophytes, tenderly left one group and headed east, where the other group waited in a different mood, in a mood of joyful reception. So Prabhupada told, if you want me again, I will come definitely. But if you want me soon, then you please hold a Rath Yatra festival here. So this was Prabhupada's mood. Wherever devotees would do amazing preaching, Prabhupada would go there immediately. So in this way, there was a transcendental competition in the society, and devotees always wanted to do greater preaching. And this holds true even now. And if we organize very nice preaching, try to spread this message of Lord Krishna, help Srila Prabhupada in the mission of his spiritual master, then Srila Prabhupada makes his presence felt personally to the devotees. So this is the way of feeling the presence of spiritual master and Krishna. If we engage ourselves very rigorously, do hard work in Krishna service, that is the way of perceiving, Srila Prabhupada explains, the presence of God. So Prabhupada told, you organize Rath Yatra and then I will come again. New York City, May 1967. There was no warning that Swamiji's health would break down, or if there were, no one heeded it. As he moved from his devotees in San Francisco to his devotees in New York, no one passed any message that Swamiji should slow down. After the 5.5-hour jet flight, he spoke of a blockading in his ears, but he seemed all right. He didn't rest but went straight through the festive airport reception into 3 hours of strong lecturing and chanting in the storefront at 26 2nd Avenue. To his new disciples, he appeared dazzling and lovable. And by his presence, his glances, and his words, he increased their Krishna consciousness. To them, his advanced age, now nearing 72 years, was but another of his transcendental features. He was their strength, and they never thought to consider his strength. So they were always thinking Prabhupada is completely empowered, and they never thought, although yes, that is a fact, Prabhupada is empowered, but they could not understand that Swamiji is having an old body and he might be having some difficulties, external difficulties. And although there were some symptoms, when he had gone for a TV interview, after interview he complained of headache, great headache because of the lights present in the studio. Then in another occasion, he called one of his disciples and he explained how he is having difficulty in his heart. And Rupanuga, one of the devotees, he saw Prabhupada when he was lecturing, his hand was trembling. Other time there were palpitations felt by him. And in the Avalon ballroom, he was jumping and doing kirtan. And it was very intense and he was sweating very profusely. So Kirtanananda, that is how we heard in the past time. He was telling, shouting, please stop the kirtan, he cannot tolerate it. But they thought Kirtanananda is paranoid, he is unnecessarily getting worried. But he saw Swamiji perspiring profusely, which was not normal. However, the disciples, reveling in the association, spiritual empowerment of their great spiritual master, could not pay attention that he might need great care for his external health also. Swamiji had written a letter consoling a disciple's ailing grandmother, but the devotees figured that although Swamiji might give good instructions to someone's old grandmother, nothing like what had befallen her was ever going to affect him. During the last week of May, however, Swamiji began to feel exhausted. He spoke of the heart palpitations. Hoping that the symptoms would clear up in a day or two, Kirtanananda suggested that he rest and see no visitors. But his condition became worse. Kirtanananda recollects. Swamiji began to complain that his left arm wasn't functioning properly, and then he began to develop a twitching in his left side, and his left arm would twitch uncontrollably. It seemed to pain him in some mysterious way, internally or psychologically. Achyutananda tells, it was Sunday, 2 days before Memorial Day, and we had arranged a large program in the afternoon in a hall uptown. So there is a program scheduled and Prabhupada is supposed to go there. I went up to get Swamiji since all the devotees were ready. Swamiji was lying down and his face was pale. He said, feel my heart, and I felt a quivering vibration in his chest. I went down, but I didn't want to alert everyone and panic them. I went to Kirtanananda and quietly said, the Swami is having some kind of mild heart palpitations. And immediately we both flew back up. Swamiji said, just massage here. And so I rubbed him on the chest and he showed me how. He said, the others go and Achyutananda can stay here. If anything happens, he can call you. So the others went and did the program and I waited. Once or twice he called me in and had me quickly rub over his chest. Then he looked up and his color had come back. I was staring with my mouth open, wondering what to do. He looked up at me and said, "Why are you sitting idle? Chant Hare Krishna." So even at that time when Prabhupada is having an attack, Prabhupada is telling his disciple, "Why you are wasting your time? Why you are just sitting here staring at me? Chant Hare Krishna." So Prabhupada was so conscious that every moment you please chant Hare Krishna. He looked up at me and said, "Why are you sitting idle? Chant Hare Krishna." During the evening, palpitations again occurred. So I slept in the room, this is by Achyutananda, next to his. And late at night, he called me in and again had me massage. Kirtanananda tells, "It was on Tuesday afternoon, Memorial Day, and I was sitting with Swamiji in his room. While Kirtan was going on downstairs, the twitching began again. The Swami's face began to tighten up. His eyes started rolling, and all of a sudden he threw himself back and I caught him. He was gasping, 'Hare Krishna.' And then everything stopped. I thought it was the last until his breathing started again, and with it the chanting. But he didn't regain control over his body. Swamiji's left side was paralyzed. He asked that a picture of his spiritual master be put on the wall in front of him. Devotees entered the front room of the apartment and Swamiji told them to chant Hare Krishna. Then he told them to pray to Krishna in his form of Narsimhadev. Saswarup recollects. Swamiji said we should pray to Lord Narsimhadev and the prayer should be, "My spiritual master has not finished his work." At different times he would allow us to take turns and massage different parts of his body. Then he had us go downstairs and hold kirtan through the night. During the night, Swamiji's heart pained him. The next day he remained in critical condition. He could speak but softly and was too exhausted to converse. Skeptical of the doctors, he diagnosed himself a heart attack affecting part of his brain, thus paralyzing the left side of his body. Massage, he said, was the cure. So thus death was looking imminent because Prabhupada had suffered 2 strokes and then this was the third one. And Srila Prabhupada requested his disciples, please pray to Lord Narsimhadev. Lord Narsimhadev is specific form of Krishna who incarnated to save Prahlad Maharaj, the stalwart devotee. So Krishna takes various forms and all those forms are having specific moods. Although the personality is same, when Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita 5000 years ago, he demanded complete surrender. Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. You first surrender, give up everything that you have, whatever mentally concocted duties you have created for yourself, leave everything, surrender. And then further instructions would be given of spiritual life. But as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, same Krishna, Namo Mahavadanyaya, he was very, very compassionate. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not demand surrender. He told, just chant the name of Krishna and eventually you would be able to surrender. Similarly, Lord Narsimhadev, his mood is to give protection to the devotees. Whenever there is any trouble in the body of the devotee and in carrying out the practical affairs of Krishna consciousness, stumbling blocks are there, then Lord Narsimhadev has to be prayed. So we should not pray to Krishna for curing any of the diseases of ours or giving us some material benefit. But because Prabhupada's purpose of going to America was not fulfilled, so he told it is not for life or death. Death is certain, anyway it will come and the soul continues to live. But it does not matter whether I live or I die. But you can pray to Lord Narsimhadev, my spiritual master's mission is not yet fulfilled. So if you so desire, please save our spiritual master. His mission is not fulfilled. So thus not for his personal health, devotee is not at all disturbed by any of such disturbances or even by death. There is the first criteria which Lord Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Dhiras tatrana muhyati. Devotee is not at all concerned by death because death means changing of dresses. But Prabhupada was very much worried about his mission. Mission was unfulfilled. If he goes, what is the hope? Who will take this message to the West and spread it? So he requested his devotees, you can pray to Narsingh Dev, and the devotees chanted entire night praying for Srila Prabhupada's health. But the next day, the condition did not improve. And 9 o'clock, they scheduled an ambulance, and that was supposed to come on time, but it came at 12 noon. By the time Prabhupada was moaning in pain, and it was very difficult for him. So it is not that pure devotees do not feel the pain, although yes, in one sense they do not feel. Why? Because the devotees take pleasure in such pains for Krishna. How does it so happen? So the example is given. Just like the mother is lifting the child in her arms, the arms will pain because child has got some weight, but the mother would not feel the pain of arms at all. Rather, with great pleasure, the parents take up the child and they want to continue without at all bothering about any pain. In a similar fashion, the children, when they play computer game, the eyes may be paining, but they are not at all bothered with this pain. They get higher pleasure. So thus, all these pains are actually felt. Heart attack is felt by the devotee, but then he takes pleasure. He feels grateful to Krishna. Thank you so much for engaging me in your service. In this way, I can attract your attention. So if any pain is taken in the service of Krishna, then devotee takes it as a great blessing, because the entire purpose of Krishna consciousness is somehow get the attention of Krishna. So thus it is told in Golok Vrindavan, there is no dust. Still the gopis are busy cleaning the walls and floors so that they can attract the attention of Krishna. There is no dust, but they want to do the seva so that Krishna can look towards them. So this is Krishna consciousness, not very eager to see Krishna behind some bush in Vrindavan, but work in such a manner, work so hard, sacrifice so much for Krishna that Krishna becomes eager to see you. So thus, when devotee feels pain, he feels great gratitude for Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells all the pains that we encounter in Krishna consciousness, that gives great pleasure to my heart. So thus, pains or no pains, everything gives ecstasy to a pure devotee. However, the pain is real. So Prabhupada was mourning in this pain and writhing, and somehow they arranged the ambulance, and the people did not treat Prabhupada nicely. They were treating him like a cloth. So they felt very bad. We would have taken a cab and took him to hospital. And so Prabhupada had warned, if my health becomes very bad, do not take me to hospital. Prabhupada was not putting much faith in doctors. And they did not know they will do some experiment, operation, and take my blood out, put some needles in. So Prabhupada told, do not take me to hospital. Give me my chanting bag and chant Hare Krishna. Do this. But then disciples were not knowing what to do. Health has become very bad. So they took him to hospital. And Prabhupada was half conscious, was in great pain. And doctors, of course, they did whatever they could in the hospital. And slowly Prabhupada became little well. And then Prabhupada, as soon as he came in his a proper consciousness, Prabhupada told, please take me out of here. And they were supposed to give him more injections. They were taking him to EEG, other room for diagnosis. And the ward boy was wheeling Prabhupada's bed. So Prabhupada requested his disciple Garg Muni, you please push my bed, not this person. And Garg Muni started wheeling Prabhupada around. And then they took them down, and Prabhupada told, no injection, no. So nurse told, no injection, some tests. But then she came with injection. Prabhupada told, no, I will not take this. And Prabhupada told his disciple, I should not take this. And his disciples stand as guard, I will not allow. And I will fight for this, but I will not allow you to do. So they understood spiritual master's instruction is very, very important. So he fought with the nurse, I will not allow you. Nurse became angry. And then he stole Prabhupada away from the nurse. He took the bed out, and Prabhupada was sitting cross-legged. He was chanting, and he was running in the hospital floors, unable to find the way where to take Prabhupada. He was pushing here and there, and he hit the wall and stumbled while pushing. But Prabhupada told, I don't want to be here. Then his brother Brahman and Prabhu came. And the doctors reported how you are doing this thing with him. We have to take care of the patient. But then Prabhupada told Brahmanand also, I don't want to stay here. And doctor came and Prabhupada shook hands with the doctor. See, I'm fine. I want to go now. So doctor smiled and told, no, you are not good enough. You have to be here for some more days. And Prabhupada was still very much insistent. And the disciples' understanding order of spiritual master is final. We should not consider what doctor is telling, what anybody is telling. Whatever spiritual master is telling should be carried out. So then they finally argued with the doctors, and doctors, nurses tried to stop them. But anyway, they took Prabhupada out of the hospital. And then Prabhupada was eventually brought to a different place away from the temple on the beach in New Jersey. But it was very difficult for Prabhupada over there also, because the most important thing Prabhupada told to recuperate is proper health, proper sun. Sun is the deity of proper health, and Prabhupada told, there is no sun here, how will I recover? So then Prabhupada discussed with them plans of going to India. And the disciples were very worried that if Prabhupada goes to India, what will happen? Who will guide us? But eventually, after all the visitors had departed, the deities remained in the house with Swamiji and his servants. So Srila Prabhupada, although he was moved to San Francisco for recovery, because beach air anyway is good, so Prabhupada wanted to be there. And he had promised also the disciples that if you do Rath Yatra festival, I would come there. So anyway, both the things were done. And even though Prabhupada was still not very well, Prabhupada told my disciples, I have to go there, I have to meet them. And even though he was not fully recovered, but Prabhupada cancelled his plans of visiting India. And he told, despite of my health, I had promised my disciples, if they organize a Rath Yatra festival, I will go there. And the disciples had actually organized. But still, it was not possible for Prabhupada to go there and participate in the Rath Yatra. So Prabhupada stayed in the place they had taken for Prabhupada to recover. And then after conducting the festival very nicely, disciples came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was very, very glad. And after all the visitors had departed, the deities remained in the house with Swamiji and his servants. Swamiji felt satisfied that the disciples had successfully held a Rath Yatra festival, although untrained, but they were very sincere. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Bhakti Vinod Thakur would have been pleased to see the first American Rath Yatra. The whole world was in anxiety, Swamiji explained to the devotees gathered in his room that evening. Only the spiritual world was their freedom from anxiety. So everyone in this world is working just to become freed from all the anxieties. But not knowing how to do it, they keep on becoming more and more anxious. They think education will make me happy, will get me a good settled job. But this education brings them anxiety with every passing week. There are tests, every passing year or quarter there are tests, and anxiety only keeps on building unlimitedly. And then they think this job eventually, now I'll get money, I'll be freed from anxieties. The anxiety increases. Then they think family will increase pleasure in my life, and family creates so much of embarrassment if there is no Krishna in center. So anxieties keep on piling up. An old man is full of anxieties. So Prabhupada told all these calculations will not work. The whole world was in anxiety, Swamiji explained to the devotees gathered in his room that evening. Only in the spiritual world was there freedom from anxiety. Becoming free from all anxiety and returning to the spiritual world was the purpose of Krishna consciousness. And festivals like Rath Yatra made people Krishna conscious. Swamiji had many ideas for festivals. If he had the money and manpower, he said, he could have a festival every day. Krishna consciousness was unlimited. This Rath Yatra festival was another sign of the good reception for Krishna consciousness in the West. Swamiji still talked of going to India. Again, he thought, I think I should go. I won't be able to recover here. He had virtually made up his mind to go. The question now was when, and whether by the western route via Japan or the eastern route via New York. The grey skies and unseasonably cool temperature of Stinson Beach were a disappointment. His health was still poor. He even spoke of dying. It didn't matter whether he died in America or Vrindavan, he said. If a Vaishnava dies in Vrindavan where Krishna had appeared, he goes back to Godhead. Yet, when Lord Chaitanya had travelled outside Vrindavan, his devotee Advaita had assured him, wherever you are is Vrindavan. To be always absorbed in thinking of Krishna was also Vrindavan. So if he were to pass away while preaching Krishna consciousness anywhere in the world, certainly he would attain to the eternal Vrindavan in the spiritual sky. Nevertheless, Swamiji wanted to go to Vrindavan. It was the best place to die or to recuperate. Besides, he had a plan for bringing his disciples to Vrindavan for training. So before I die, Prabhupada thought, let me train these disciples at least. So that was another reason. Unless they see Vrindavan, they come here, it would be difficult for them to actually realize what is spiritual life. So apart from recuperation, this was another reason. Prabhupada wanted to have an American house where disciples would come from America, get trained, and the existing disciples can be given some training and sannyas as soon as possible. If he would die, better he train some disciples, give them sannyas, and then finish his Leela. Swamiji told Kirtanananda, Hayagriva and others that he would take them with him and show them the sacred places of Krishna's pastimes. With the New York Temple's building fund, he would start his American house in Vrindavan. Devotees worried, speculating on whether they could carry on without Swamiji. One devotee suggested that perhaps one of Swamiji's god brothers should come to America and fill in for Swamiji, and if the worst happened, take over the leadership of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. When the suggestion reached Swamiji, he considered it without immediately replying. Prabhupada gave no reply when they suggested. Suppose worst happens, you are not able to come back ever. Can we call some of your god brothers, the disciples of your spiritual master, they are called god brothers, to come here and fill your place and guide all of us and take charge of International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Prabhupada didn't give a reply. Mukunda recollects, I was sitting alone with Swamiji in his room, and he was very grave and silent. His eyes were closed. Then suddenly, tears began flowing from his eyes, and he said in a choked voice, my spiritual master was no ordinary spiritual master. Then he paused for some time, and wiping the tears from his cheeks, he said in an even more choked voice, he saved me. At that point, I began to understand the meaning of spiritual master and dropped all consideration of ever replacing Swamiji. After 2 days, Swamiji said he would not call any of his god brothers to come and take care of his disciples. After 2 days, Prabhupada told. He said, if this person speaks just one word different from what I am speaking, there will be great confusion among you and chaos in your spiritual life. Actually, he said, the idea was an insult to the spiritual master. So they were very new, not understanding proper position of spiritual master. And the impersonalists, Mayavadis, who tell God is an energy, they tell spiritual master is like a boatman. Once you cross this boat of material world, ignorance, once you are enlightened, then you detach yourself from spiritual master also. But this is a very great offense as per the knowledge of absolute truth. The devotee remains eternally servant of one spiritual master. And actually one's mood is not even to go back to Godhead. Rather, devotee develops a spontaneous mood. I am not at all worried. Devotee develops such pleasure. As Prabhupada explained, it is not that that place is Vrindavan, some place in this universe where Krishna appears. Krishna is spiritual, his place is also completely spiritual. It manifests in the heart of the devotee who are always thinking of Krishna. And how this thinking of Krishna happens? When a person is always thinking of spiritual master and fulfilling his mission and working hard to fulfill the mission. Such devotee in his heart is always in Vrindavan. So thus this is the way of always staying in Vrindavan and staying Krishna conscious. So relationship with spiritual master, it is the source of greatest joy for devotee. And the devotee, the disciple does not want anything, but he has just one desire. What Prahlad Maharaj asked in Bhagavatam, when Narsimhadev offered him to come back to spiritual world, he told, then who will serve your servant, my spiritual master? He has kindly delivered me. I want to work from him, help him in his mission. So when the disciple has this mood, then automatically there is no need to wait for death to go to Vrindavan. Even though he is living in this body, Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate, he is liberated, he is relishing the consciousness of Vrindavan. And actually he is in Vrindavan, although physically his body appears to be manifest here. So thus, this is the relationship, the genuine relationship between disciple and spiritual master. Spiritual master is eternal. As we sing every day in the Guru Puja song, Chakshudan Dilojai, Janme Janme Prabhu say, the person who has opened my eyes from ignorance, he is my spiritual master life after life. So this is eternal relationship. Eternally disciple is indebted, and life after life he wants to serve the mission of the spiritual master. So if somebody tells, I don't see you again, can I take guidance from other person? I can take somebody else as spiritual master. It is a great insult. It is just like if the father loses his job or he becomes handicapped, you are telling father, can I accept the neighbor as my father? How bad father would feel. Thus Prabhupada started crying. And Prabhupada did not mention directly, Prabhupada explained what is position of spiritual master. So with tears in his eyes, Prabhupada told, my spiritual master was pure gold. He saved me. He was no ordinary master. He was no ordinary person. So Prabhupada explained, this is the position of an Uttam Adhikari, which is rare to be found in the three worlds. So a disciple should never is considered greatest offense in Vedas if you leave your spiritual master. It is an eternal relationship, and spiritual master is not, please excuse me, I'll take 5 more minutes. So spiritual master is not the body. And for guidance, as we will see how Prabhupada will guide now, I may take a little more than 5 minutes. Also, few important things are there about this pastime. So Prabhupada explains that the guidance is not limited to the body. Spiritual master is eternal. He is a spiritual personality. He can use any ways and means to guide the disciple through other personalities, other instruments, other objects, or from the heart if the disciple is pure. So the distance, space, time does not matter for spiritual instructions. If the instructions are very sincerely being followed of the spiritual master remains personal guide for the disciple. The uninitiated wanted to accept him as their spiritual master. So when it was decided that Prabhupada is going to go to India, so some of them uninitiated, they wanted to accept him as their spiritual master tonight before it was too late. He was going to leave the other day. Swamiji asked for the microphone. No one had expected him to speak. He came for final darshans before leaving. Kirtananda, the only person in a position to restrain him, said nothing and sat before him like others, submissive and expectant. Swamiji spoke quietly about his mission. Under the order of his spiritual master, he was bringing Lord Chaitanya's movement to America. And Krishna had kindly sent him so many sincere souls. Prabhupada explained, I have a few children in India from my family days, but you are real children. Now I am going to India for a little while. I am an old man, he said. I may die at any moment, but please, you all carry on this Sankirtan movement. Then Prabhupada gave most important instructions. So here are a bunch of disciples who have been trained just for 2.5 months in Krishna consciousness. What is 2.5 months? So just this short training, and they are willing to surrender, and many of them have got initiation. And they have surrendered themselves to Prabhupada. Now Prabhupada may never see them back again. He may pass away from this world any moment, Prabhupada is explaining. So he cannot speak much. He is feeling very weak. So whatever he can speak, he gives these very important instructions. This is what we have to follow, even if I don't come back. And what Prabhupada spoke, we have to hear very carefully. You have to become humble and tolerant. These were the first words Prabhupada spoke as the last instructions. You have to become humble and tolerant. This is called the foremost instruction of Vaishnavism. Tranad abhisuni chena taro riva sahishnuna. The foremost instruction of Vaishnavism or spiritual life of Bhakti Yoga is one has to become humble and tolerant. Humble means Bhrigu Muni kicked Krishna on his chest and Krishna started massaging the feet of Krishna. This is called humility. If you get hurt by somebody, then we try to please the other person, not expecting any honor for oneself. And tolerant. People may commit so many offenses, but tolerating. So you have to become humble and tolerant. Lord Chaitanya says, be humble as a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. Then Prabhupada explained, it doesn't stop here. You must have enthusiasm and patience to push on this Krishna conscious philosophy. Instructions ended. Then Prabhupada explained, you must have enthusiasm and patience to push on this Krishna conscious philosophy. So first of all, become humble and tolerant. In this way, spiritual life will advance. You will develop spiritual power. And then you have to have enthusiasm, great, strong desire, force to push on this movement. And it will not be easy. So many impediments will come. Rather, impediments are a signal that one is advancing in Krishna consciousness. So, to face those impediments, your mind and body will revolt. Mind and body will follow the old pattern. People, society may not understand, as we will see in course of this biography, how devotees face so many difficulties. So you have to have patience. Your own anarthas will give you so many troubles. You have to have patience. By following Krishna consciousness, you have to cross over all these internal and external obstacles. So patience is also very much important. So these instructions Prabhupada gave, become humble and tolerant, and then become very enthusiastic to push this movement and have patience while pushing. He sat still and continued speaking to them gravely, asking them to stick together and push on the movement. Another instruction Prabhupada gave, stick together. So if Prabhupada explained, just like in an army, whatever your commander tells, the soldiers follow. If the soldiers disagree, they go and fight individually, all would be killed. So sticking together, agreeing to cooperate despite the differences is also very important. Especially in Kali Yuga, without organizing, nothing can be successful. So Prabhupada told, stick together and push on the movement for their own benefit and for others. Whatever they had learned, he said, they should repeat. So all these instructions are very important. So pushing Krishna consciousness for others, but then what will happen to us? Prabhupada told, no, for yourself also. When you push this movement, then actually you make real advancement. Not just others benefit, you become dearmost servant of Krishna. And then Prabhupada told, whatever you have learned, you please repeat. There is no need of going to anybody else for help. Simply follow the instructions which I have given. Be humble, be tolerant, have enthusiasm, patience, and stick together. And whatever I have spoken to you, you please repeat that thing. So this repetition is also very important. That is called kirtan. We have to hear, we have to read. And sometimes devotees would tell, I am not able to understand, not able to have realization. Prabhupada is telling, because you are not repeating. You have to repeat what you hear. And then you will realize the subject matter. If you don't repeat, you don't preach, then realization will not happen. So you spread this movement, repeat for your own benefit also. They realized perhaps for the first time that they were part of preaching mission, a movement. They were together not just for good times and good vibrations. They were not just beneficiaries but missionaries. They had a loving obligation to Swamiji and Krishna. So not just we have to take all the good vibration and good things for Swamiji, but we have to have a loving reciprocal relationship of giving back to Swamiji. And they realized that day we are part of a preaching mission. The devotees wanted to ask, but what if you don't return? Prabhupada now he left San Francisco and he came to New York. And devotees presented their plans. We have to open new centers, and Prabhupada became very glad. But then they were afraid, what will happen? Who will guide if you are no longer with us? But what if you don't return? They were fearful. What if Krishna kept Swamiji in Vrindavan? What if Swamiji never returned? How could they survive against Maya? But Swamiji assured them, whatever Krishna consciousness he had given them would be enough, even if he never returned. So the guidance of spiritual master always keeps coming despite the gap of space in time. Spiritual master may not be present in time, we are present. Time is a material energy. How material energy can give any impedance in spiritual transmission of instructions? Similarly, space is also material energy. Material energy is no impediment in spiritual life. So Prabhupada told, just whatever you have learned, keep on following that, and that would be sufficient for your guidance. Just 30 minutes before he had to leave for the airport, Swamiji sat in his room chanting on the beads of a girl who had asked to be initiated. Then, as he had done many times before, he left his apartment, went downstairs, crossed the courtyard, and entered the storefront. This is New York. Sitting on the old carpet, he spoke quietly and personally. I am going, but my Guru Maharaj and Bhakti Vinod are here. He looked toward the paintings of his spiritual master and Bhakti Vinod Thakur. I have asked them to kindly take care of all of you. My spiritual children, the grandfather always takes care of the children much better than the father. So do not fear. There is no question of separation. The sound vibration fixes up us together. Even though the material body may not be there. What do we care for this material body? Just go on chanting Hare Krishna and we will be packed up together. You will be chanting here and I will be chanting there, and this vibration will circulate around the planet. So Prabhupada gave this very important instruction. These pictures you are seeing on the wall, Bhaktisnand Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they are personally present in their forms. So I am leaving, but I am telling them to take charge of you. And grandfather takes more care of the children than the father. So they would very nicely take care of you. And Prabhupada told, never mind physical separation. That is immaterial. Who cares about this body if this body is not there? So you chant here, I'll be chanting there, and we'll be packed up together in this sound vibration. So this is the way of associating with the spiritual master. So thus these are material concepts. How do we associate with Prabhupada? This physical body is not there. Prabhupada gave very clear instructions. It is immaterial. But vibrational presence is important. You keep on reading my words, hearing my words, meditating on them and repeating them. And chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, we will be always packed up together in close association. Several devotees rode with Swamiji in the taxi. Brahmananda in the front with the driver, Rayaram and Kirtanananda in the back beside their spiritual master. When Kirtanananda sees Vrindavan, Swamiji said, he will not be able to understand how I could have left that place and come to this place. It is so nice. There are no motor cars there like here, rushing, whoosh, whoosh and smelling. Only there is Hare Krishna. Everybody always chanting. Thousands and thousands of temples. I will show you, Kirtanananda. We will walk all about there and I will show you. Brahmanand began to cry and Swamiji patted him on the back. I can understand that you are feeling separation, he said. I am feeling for my Guru Maharaj. I think this is what Krishna desires. You may be coming there to me and be training up, and we will spread this movement all over the world. Rayaram, you will go to England. Brahmanand, you want to go to Japan or Russia? That's all right. The devotees, he consoled him, that's all right, please don't cry. The devotees converged on the Air India waiting room near a crowded cocktail lounge. Wearing a sweater, his chadar folded neatly over one shoulder, Swamiji sat in a chair, while his disciples sat as closely as possible around his feet. He held an umbrella, just as when he had first come alone to New York almost 2 years ago. Although exhausted, he was smiling. Swamiji noted a mural of Indian women carrying large jars on their heads. and he called the name of the young girl who had recently gone with her husband Hansduta to join the ISKCON center in Montreal, Himavati. Himavati, would you like to go to India and learn to carry this water pot like Indian women? Yes, yes, she said, I'll go. Yes, Swamiji said, someday we will all go. Kirtanananda was carrying a portable battery-operated phonograph and 2 copies of the Hare Krishna mantra record. Kirtanananda, Swamiji asked, why not play the record? They will enjoy. Kirtanananda played the record very softly, its sound catching the attention of people in the cocktail lounge. Make it little louder, Swamiji asked. And Kirtanananda increased the volume while Swamiji nodded his head, keeping time. Soon the devotees began humming along with the record and then quietly singing until gradually they were singing loudly. Some of the devotees began to cry. When the time came to board the plane, Swamiji embraced each of his men. They stood in a line, and one after another approached him and embraced him. He patted a few of the women on the head. Accompanied by Kirtanananda, whose head was shaven and who wore an incongruous black woolen suit, Swamiji walked slowly toward the gate. As he disappeared from view, the devotees ran for the observation deck to get a last look at his departing plane. A gentle rain was washing the airfield as the devotees raced across the wet observation deck. There below were Swamiji and Kirtanananda walking towards their plane. Abandoning decorum, the devotees began to shout. Swamiji returned and waved. He climbed the movable stairway, turning again at the top and raising his arms, and then entered the plane. The devotees chanted wildly while the boarding steps moved away and the door closed, and the plane began to turn. The devotees had pressed close to the rail, but they pulled back as the jet exhaust blasted them with the heat. With a great roar, the Air India jet, lights blinking, taxing out to the runway. The devotees continued to chant Hare Krishna until the plane left the ground, became a speck in the sky, and then disappeared. So these were very touching pastimes, very young disciples. They did not know whether they would ever be able to see their Messiah, spiritual master again. And Prabhupada also feeling great attachment with his real children, but understanding and submitting to Krishna's will, he departed. Then what eventually Krishna had in store for Prabhupada? What happened in Vrindavan? And how Srila Prabhupada, with greater vigor and energy to the delight of his disciples, came back to America after recuperating. All these pastimes we will understand tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening for today. It was an extended session. Now is the time for announcement of winners. So yesterday's winner is Aryan. Many congratulations, Aryan, if you are hearing. He has summarized whole session and has written almost 1 page of his realization. That is very nice, very nice. In yesterday's session, many new people have written comments. Thank you so much. So all the new people also, we see they have written comments. This writing is very, very important. As we see, Srila Prabhupada is encouraging disciples, you please write, you repeat, contemplate. So our contemplation becomes very strong when we write, and clarity also becomes very good. So I request again today, please write your realization in the comment section. In this way, all the people who watch this video will be able to have a summary. After they have gone through, they will be able to remember the points, and you will also advance in your realization. And maybe now social media is so nice, what you write, you can have a small videos of yourself, and then you can share it with others. So that what you have written, maybe you can post it on some of your other social media handles as well. In this way, all of us can preach and this message can spread far and wide. Moreover, these comments help us to take this series to many more people and bring them in connection with Prabhupada. So please try to like this video, try to share this and put comments so that we can touch many people. We'll meet tomorrow again. Thank you for hearing. Hare Krishna.